Count to 10. So 10,
Yeah.
9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I think we should be good.
Alrighty. Awesome. Hello. A link to the cure. I have the first off, actually, let me give a shout out to Satan Spawn for that super awesome Oracle of Seasons run. That was super cool to watch.
I was
And
bombing.
yeah, it was. So I am Jessway, and I have the pleasure of bringing in our final run of the night and of the event. So I'm here with Tristnal, and we're going to be showing you guys some Majora's Mask on PC. So yeah, say your piece, bro.
Yeah, thank you, Sway, for doing comms for me because you're a champion. Um, Thank you so much for sticking with us for another year for Link to the Cure, guys. We'll say more at the end, but for now, I think we're more or less ready to go. So I'm just gonna give us a quick countdown, and we'll start, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
3, 2, 1, and we're off.
All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about two ship and this first cycle. So if you're not familiar with the game, this is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This is a 2001 Nintendo 64 release, the sequel to Ocarina of Time. And this that we're playing on is Two Ship to Harkinian, which is the sequel to Ship of Harkinian. If that sounds a little silly, that's because it is. So Ship of Harkinian is the Ocarina of Time PC port developed by the Harbor Masters team. And Two Ship is the PC port of the second sequel. So that's Majora's Mask. So this is Two Ship, any percent glitchless. You might be interested to know here we're just kind of doing some first cycle things, so we have a little bit of downtime. But Harbor Masters recently released a Star Fox 64 PC port as well, and they've recently dropped some major updates to their Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask PC ports, which have a lot of cool quality of life features and new built-in randomizers and new features for Ocarina of Time's randomizer, which they had already had built in. So it's a good time to be a Nintendo 64 Zelda fan, I would say.
This is by
For
far the
sure.
definitive way to play either Ocarina or Majora, and I will die on that hill.
I'm going to talk about a few things that have given Tristnal that opinion. So there's a lot of differences. Some of them matter for the run, some of them don't. In all ways, for any percent glitchless, they're kind of just quality of life things. You may have noticed at the beginning, we completely skipped the intro sequence. So that's a feature in Two Ship. You can skip the intro sequence, as well as a lot of cutscenes, which you've kind of already seen and will definitely continue to see as we go through the run. A couple other things. So you'll notice that Tristnal also has an extended item slots using his D-pad. So the game gives you access to 4 additional item slots. And something that will come into play later on in the run is that this Two Ship supports the Majora's Mask 3D Song of Double Time. So basically, what that allows us to do is go forward to specific points in time, as opposed to the original N64 release, where you can only go forward to 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. To the next day or night. So those are kind of the two big things, or sorry, not two. Those are kind of the big things from Two Ship. There's also just some other small quality of life things. There is an in-game timer that we're not using for this particular run. This game also supports interpolation, which is purely the game engine runs at the same FPS, but you can have a little bit of increased graphical fidelity with frame interpolation if you like that. And you'll see throughout this run, Tristnal's using a free cam, which is a feature that the original supports. There you go. Yeah. So that's a feature that's in here. There's a couple other things too. You'll also notice he's using HD textures for this. So that makes it a really cool way to kind of re-experience the run without giving up on anything from the original. You know, the Majora's Mask 3D remake had some controversial changes for casual players. So this kind of collects the best of both the original and the 3DS re-release
Oh no.
into one package.
Oops. So fun fact. I did some practice before this. Oopsie daisy. It doesn't affect anything because we're about to go back in time, but let's just pretend that that didn't happen. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
That's the benefit and the curse of having lots of practice options built into the game.
Yes, that is probably a because we have some downtime. So I just mentioned that the
Yeah.
two ship client has a bunch of built-in features, like a ridiculous amount of them, and so it makes practicing the game very, very accessible. So yeah, normally I would be rejecting my own run because of that, but shh, don't worry about it. Don't worry
It's
about
okay.
it.
No one noticed. So to get into the actual specifics for the run, since we've been talking about two ship a lot, so basically the whole first cycle is pretty straightforward. Our goal is to get magic from the fairy fountain in order to complete the initial encounter with the Skull Kid, and to help Link get his Ocarina of Time back, so that we can go back in time and try to stop the Skull Kid from stealing Majora's Mask. Ooh. And then the other goal for the run here is that we purchase the bomb bag, which is kind of unique to this category. So we'll get that now during this first cycle so that we can get into the mountain village easily. Yeah.
This is all standard.
So this is
stuff.
where this is where the cutscene skips come in. Normally, the intro sequence has, you know, I think there's like 8 or 9 minutes of cutscenes, including the entire intro cutscene sequence. So the nice thing about Two Ship is that you can kind of get into the meat and potatoes of the run really quickly by, you know, skipping. It saves you like 9 minutes out of the, you know, 15 minutes of the intro or what have you. So just a little bit more cutscene skips and you can get right into it, which I think is a really like cool feature of this run compared to like the Wii, VC, and N64 versions of the run, where, you know, resetting means you have to go through the same 9 minutes of cutscenes.
It's pretty brutal.
Over and over. Yeah, it's definitely pretty punishing. Whereas this is not. All right, so we're gonna head to the swamp area. We're doing some backwalking. So if you're not familiar with Zelda speed tech, so this is kind of the fastest way to travel. Backwalking is 50% faster than normal walking. It's as fast as moving with the bunny hood. So it's definitely, you know, if we can do it, we try to do it so that we can speed up the initial parts of the run, which involve a lot of traveling from point A to point B.
Although typically you don't ram yourself into the edge and stop like I did a whole lot. But you know,
I don't know what you're talking about. I do that all the time.
Speed
so.
tech.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with you, but
fair enough.
All right. So this first part here, our goal is to get a bottle from the Potion Sisters, Kume and Kotake. So we're going into the forest to talk to Kume, which will trigger some flags and allow us to talk to her sister and get a bottle. And then for the marathon, we'll be coming back into the forest to talk to Kotake and give her the red potion so that we can use the swamp tour boat. So that is something in this version of the game, Two Ship specifically, where there is a quality of life feature that increases the speed of the tourism boat. So in like VVC or N64 runs in Glitchless, you'll see runners doing this route typically opt to do big octo skip, which is a method of getting past the big octo without needing to get on the tourism boat to kill it that way, which is the vanilla way of doing things. Big octo skip is still optimal in this version of the run. So the fast movement on the tourism boat is essentially kind of like a quality of life thing. Like if you're still getting used to big octo skip, or you haven't learned the trick yet, it's an alternative that loses a little bit of time but still helps you keep the same route. So it's helpful if you're trying to learn the standard route for this, coming from the beginner route. It's a good alternative that lets you practice that route without having to worry about whether or not you're going to have to reset a billion times in order to learn the run.
One of the cool things I will say with this is because we use the North American version, and traditionally the Wii U Virtual Console and other things, they want the Japanese version because it's faster text. This is built off the North American version, and so that has a lot of inherent things which Sway's going to cover later on in the run. But that also means that we've had to essentially reroute the entire game. So everything, all the routes that have been done by myself and Sway and our other community member, because we are very small still, and I highly encourage other people to come out and run it, please, because it's a very good game and we love it. But while a lot of things that were standard in the original game are still present, they might not actually be the most efficient way to do it this time around. So it's interesting, and if you're really into being a part of kind of a grassroots routing situation for a game, I can't say this is a better time than now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, we're gonna see in Woodfall Temple coming up shortly. There's a trick that Scrap and Live, who's one of the other runners who's running two ship, that they found to kind of make some movement more consistent in Woodfall Temple. But yeah, there's definitely a few quirky differences between the NTSC and Japanese copies of the game that become more apparent and explored in this run, since currently Two Ship only supports the NTSC version of the game. Alrighty, so basically what Triss is up to now, we're going to get some magic beans, and then we're going to get the quest song that we need to get into Woodfall Temple. So those are kind of the two priorities right now. So one difference between Two Ship and the vanilla version of the run on console is that in the rules, we have slightly different rules that we have to kind of cut out some unnecessary parts of the run. So one of those is that we don't need to route in multiple beans. So in Majora's Mask 3D, they cut out some of the requirements for Beneath the Well, which is a segment in Akana Canyon where you need to collect. It's kind of like a fetch quest thing where you need to bring a lot of items from outside the well into the well. And Two Ship does have support for changing the Beneath the Well fetch quest requirements to match the Majora's Mask 3D version of the game. And so we do take advantage of that. And it doesn't change the route too much. It just kind of cuts out a little bit of errands with routing in some rupees. But it speeds up the bean seller purchase. All right. Here's our song. The monkey cutscene gets skipped, as you can see, and
that is beautiful. I didn't get caught going either way. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, I told you. Yeah, you were gonna do great. So one big concern. So day one is by far like the hardest part of this route. The timeline is very tight. There's a few things that we need to do, and they have to happen, or else the run is just kind of dead in the water. So our key milestone right now is we're trying to get the arrows, the bow and arrow from Woodfall Temple. And then after that, we're going to head into the Snowhead region to get basically everything there. We need to complete Snowhead, get the Goron Mask, the fire arrows, and most importantly, we need to get the powder keg so that we can open up Romani Ranch on day 1 and complete Romani's game to get Epona, so that we can complete the aliens quest and get a bottle of Romani milk. Most importantly for the bottle, but the milk can come in handy sometimes. I've never gotten a stick from that.
It's lovely RNG when it happens. There is one thing I will throw out here is that I hear from a lot of people that they're intimidated by Majora's Mask because it's it's on a timer, and the idea of having to speed run something that's already on a timer is difficult. But I actually find that it's pretty refreshing because it's with the standard run here, we do this whole thing in 1 3-day cycle. And the beginner run, you go back in time a couple times, but it's very straightforward, and I think it's very intuitive to speedrunning, at least more than you might think. So definitely give it a shot if you're feeling peckish. Okay, that's the last time we'll push it for the speed game, I swear.
So I'm going to take a break from commentary to say that we hit 1,500 in donations for the event. That's a huge thank you so much to everyone who donated this weekend across the event. It means the world.
You guys are legends.
You guys are super awesome. All right. So this is Woodfall Temple. This is the first of the 4 temples in the game.
Most of this this first temple is actually pretty straightforward. It's just a lot of hurry up and wait, which is kind of silly. But it's very straightforward, and the route for this is actually the same between standard and our beginner route, which is also gone through some changes. Honestly, it's that whole having to reroute everything thing that's kind of been different, but yeah, it's very straightforward, and even new runners will find it pretty forgiving. But don't do that. Don't do what I just did there. That's bad.
It happens sometimes.
It might be death, maybe. Oh no, it's okay. Backup strats.
So there's a lot of there's definitely a lot of like skill expression that's possible, and some like the micro movement here in this temple. But yeah, other than that, like the main route for this is mostly the same between like beginner and standard routes. It's just a matter of do you end up grabbing a boss key, or do you just dip right after getting the arrows?
That is an important distinction as well, is that what I say is absolutely not the be-all end-all. And I'm very proud of the fact that the rule set that we've chosen as a community reflects the idea that you can really make the run and the route your own, which technically could be said for any game, but because we're still kind of in a very early state for it, it's still very much anybody's game.
All right, so there we go. So Tristnal, that was actually a setup from Scrap and Live for that jump slash boost. Basically, you hit against the wall to sequence break there and access this upper level a little bit earlier than intended. Basically skips a room and saves some good time. And this room features one of the first like notable differences from NTSC to the Japanese release. So here we don't have power crouch stabs, which are typically used to make this fight really quick. So here we actually use a Deku stick to immediately kill the Lizalfos. It's the fastest method of Nintendo just decided that hitting it with a stick should do a lot of damage. So fun fact, if you're ever facing a Lizalfos, bring out your stick. All right, and that's going to conclude the work here. We're going to come back to Woodfall later, but for now, in order to keep to our postman-like need for a tight time schedule, we're going to head over to the north region of the game, which contains Snowhead, the Mountain Village, and the Goron Village. And this is basically the start of the process, getting the Goron mask, so that we can talk to everyone in the Goron Village and make progress on unlocking the Snowhead Temple. There's a couple of quest songs that need to be acquired in order to do that. And also, I mean, the Goron mask is really nice because the Goron roll is by far and away the fastest means of movement throughout the game. It's about twice as fast as backwalking, which makes it 3 times as fast as normal movement. So definitely one of the faster ways to get around, and you want to do it whenever possible, basically.
Something worth noting is that at least I consider it this way, is that this is the part of the run where I lose the vast majority of runs. Snowhead is the tightest as far as the standard route goes. The beginner route's actually very forgiving because you end up going back in time twice in this area. But for the standard route, we don't do any of that, so we are on a tight schedule. And this part and Snowhead with it is very, very dangerous. So we are actually going to use a strat, and Sway will cover that in a second here. But we're going to use kind of the baby strat because I don't want to end up locking us out. But yeah, there are some faster methods that we're not going to show here.
Yeah, so like Tristnal saying, basically, like this part of the run has the most to mess up in terms of if you lose time, it's really, really punishing and can just straight up lose the run because, like I mentioned, we have to complete Snowhead by typically like by around like 2:30, 3 p.m. around like the latest is when you want to be out of Snowhead. Ideally sooner, which you can be out sooner, but sometimes runs don't go your way. But you need to be out of there by around 3:30, or else essentially you will not be able to finish getting the powder keg and unlocking the ranch and finishing Romani's game and all that in time. Because when
we're taking the risky
comes,
route. I screwed up.
I believe in you.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I believe in you. So essentially this all needs to happen before nighttime, because at nighttime you will no longer be able to unlock Epona, and it's pretty self-evidently a really, really bad time loss. So we're gonna do everything in our power not to do that.
I did not intend to do this route, and I've done it this way for so long that I just walked off the edge like an idiot. So this is the risk it for the biscuit version, and essentially we don't talk to the Goron baby, which triggers the quest and the beginning of the Goron lullaby song, and we're just gonna get the hot water and do it all in one go. So wish me luck, because this could end real bad for everybody.
He's doing it for content, guys. This is the kind of stuff that you want to see at the end of your marathons. And there are some backup stress that we have here if things go sideways. But I encourage everyone to send Tristnal your energy, because nothing will go wrong, clearly.
To be fair,
So,
I did call this
yeah.
in the practice. I said if it's gonna go bad, it's gonna go real bad.
So to explain for everyone here, so there's two essentially different routes for this, and the fast route feels really good to do, but it only saves a few seconds compared to the slower route.
2 seconds.
So this, yeah, it's not a lot, but it's a lot cooler. It's also just a lot more risky and a lot more effort than the payoff. But that's what makes it fun, right? The strategy is essentially the route changes depending on when you want to talk to the Elder Son. So you need to talk to the Elder Son in order to be able to learn the Goron lullaby from the Goron Elder, who's currently encased in ice somewhere around the Twin Islands bridges. So you need to talk to the Elder Son at some point. It's just kind of when you want to do that determines like the difficulty of your route. So in this route, what Tristnal's going to do is he's going to grab some spring water and then race to talk to the Elder's Son, and then try to melt the ice that's encasing the Goron Elder as soon as possible. And as you can see, everything is going really well. So that jump can be a little bit tricky. That jump can be a little bit tricky. There's like an angle you need to have where Goron Link will bounce off the wall and on past the water. So he hit one of those such angles there. The timing for this is pretty tight. There's only like, I'd say 3 to 5 seconds of leeway. Maybe I should say that commentary for after you pull it off successfully, but
yes, please.
There's not too much leeway. So basically this is going to be really cool if he pulls it off. All right, so there's the talk. And now the goal is basically to get to the Elder before the spring water wears off.
The
so issue see if he gets it here
is that when you're in Goron Ball, whether it spikes or not, you are exceptionally bouncy. If you try touching a wall, you will recoil from that wall violently. And it's okay, we got it. We're there.
All right, there we go. Woo. First try, guys. First try.
I know what I'm doing, clearly.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of content the viewers want to see. Oof. So that was a 2-second time save, guys. 2-second time save to almost lose 15 minutes. So, don't try this in runs, but do try it at home.
Yes. There is something I do want to mention that there, in the early kind of builds for 2-ship, one of the things that the devs were really cool about working with us for was the cinematic skips. And originally there wasn't too many that had been built in, and we were kind of waiting for more, and it was a whole thing. And it was Sway here that actually did a lot of the work for Goron Elder to get that song, because normally we'd have to sit through it, and that is one of the longest song cinematics in the game, if not the longest. And he was also responsible for one that you won't even see because we're going to blast right through it coming up. So he is very much responsible for the state of the run as it stands right now. And I felt like he needed to be shouted out for that.
I want to give a Proxy shout out to Proxy Saw and Eblo. So Proxy is one of the project leads for 2-ship specifically. Minor time loss.
Yeah, you gotta go for it, right?
Yeah, you gotta go for it. Swag strap. Proxy Saw is one of the project leads for 2-ship. And Eblo, if memory serves me correctly, had done a lot of the preliminary primary work for the Goron cutscene skips for randomizer. And so a lot of the work that I did was kind of reworking it so that things would work in vanilla. So yeah, working with the cool thing is that 2-ship is open source. So if you ever want to, contribute, if there's something that you think would be really cool to see in Majora's Mask that isn't there already, you can always check out the community Discord and make a pull request, or talk to someone who knows how to code and just make them do it for you.
Code monkeys. No, this is a great example of everything that will go wrong. Can't go wrong, will go wrong. That
Goron.
The amount of times, Goron roll is probably not only is Snowhead obnoxious, as I mentioned before, but Goron form and roll has some of the wackiest physics.
It's definitely a little quirky, yeah. All right, so Snowhead Temple is for any percent glitchless is pretty neat. This temple, I would say, has some of the more interesting sequence breaks in the run, so we're gonna see some of those here soon. It's surprisingly fast getting through this without any glitches.
Honestly, the temple is kind of crap. I hate it. If you're doing it the vanilla way, doing the speedrun way feels amazing.
It's
At
pretty
least in my
satisfying,
opinion.
actually, yeah. All right, so this is a bomb jump sequence break. The timing is pretty tight, but there we go. First try.
First try. We like to see that.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big sequence break. That bomb jump specifically is one of the bigger time saves here in Snowhead Temple. It saves an entire key essentially, so it saves a good chunk of time there. We no longer you can route out that bomb jump, but it requires to get another key by destroying all of the freezers in the room prior after unlocking the fire arrow, which loses a little bit of time.
First sideways jump. Let's go. I sound like I've never run this game before, ever.
I get excited every time I hit a trick too, so I can't really blame you. You know, sometimes you just like you've missed it so many times that getting it is exciting.
Oh, 100%. Okay, so these enemies are just they're such a pain. That might be too far away. I don't know. Nope. Okay.
Nope. Let's try. So that's a good time save. Basically skips the puzzle. And we've got some micro time saves coming up here that essentially... Oh, there we go. Just barely.
Okay.
So that's a nice one that saves about 12 seconds. That was a good movement. It's easy to kind of overshoot those or undershoot those, so that was good stuff.
That was rough. Honestly, that was rough.
You know, if you get it, you get it.
True. No looking
so
back.
This is the first, exactly. This is the first of, I think, like 6. The Wizrobe is definitely Nintendo's favorite enemy when developing this game. There's about like 6 Wizrobe fights throughout the game, one of which is optional. What this is going to grant us for defeating this mini boss is the fire arrow. So the fire arrow is pretty nice to have, and it's going to help us finish out this dungeon here. All right, here's coming another shot at the time save here. Not quite, but that's okay because retrying here is not too punishing. When taking the fire as or going to the lava as Deku Link, Link will respawn at the door he last went into, so it's not a super massive time loss. So that's a good backup strat to know if you start learning the run.
Voiding out and learning what causes void out is a massive part of every route, and you'll see it used and abused a lot in the Great Bay Temple because it saves a ton of time.
Yeah, super duper useful.
Honestly, just learning it as a casual player, you can amaze your friends. You'll be like, "Oh, how'd you do that, dude? You're so cool. I wish you were my friend."
All right, so this is Tunnel Jump. So this is a pretty massive sequence break. This skips a lot of tedious dungeoneering. We're able to just jump into this tunnel, which gets us pretty much straight to the boss area. We'll still need to get the boss key, but Tunnel Jump gets us to the boss pretty quickly otherwise. So we got one more go at that, and there we go, very clean. And here's the second Wizrobe fight. If you guys didn't like Wizrobe 1, I hope you love Wizrobe 2.
It's just more of him. And honestly,
it's not a particularly different fight either.
No, but because of all the extras, like the spots for him to spawn, you're either going to get really good RNG or really, really awful RNG. And there's never any between. But is anybody surprised? Ideally, we'd like to see Wizrobe spawn right next to, like this, right next to the door, because it's quicker. Oh, beautiful! Look at that. We couldn't ask for better.
Manifesting, yeah, manifesting.
Let's go. There is something
Alright, so
cool with chests. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you go.
There's something cool with chests, and it works the same way in Ocarina, in that the activation for them pretty much supersedes everything. So like I can roll into that, and instead of bonking it, I can activate. Oh damn, I missed. I can activate the opening, and so it cancels out the bonking animation, and lets me open the chest there. So it's small stuff like that, and you can use that several times throughout the run. And we're talking very small time save, but understanding kind of what supersedes other things as far as Link's actions go can save quite a bit of time throughout the run.
All right, we're coming up on the temple boss. So this is Goat, which also happens to be, I think, most folks' favorite boss in the game. I think this is probably definitely one of the more interesting bosses for the speedrun as well. So there's a quick kill setup that we're going to attempt. The positioning and the timing is kind of tight, so bear with us. But I bet we can get it. The good thing is that as you kind of do a lot of damage whether you hit it or not just by using the arrows against him. But you can just make short work of the fight with some precise gameplay here. So it's looking good all right now. So this is kind of an AI manipulation where we stop Goat by moving in this way from coming to attack Link. He's kind of like right behind the corner. And you can see here that he's going to start charging. Almost.
Yeah.
There we go.
I missed the quick kill, but I just waited too long. That's all that was. Otherwise, we had it. So, but that's still far faster than you're gonna get doing the fight normally, because Goat is a dick. There's no other way around it. Goat's a dick.
And it is effectively a perfect quick kill as well, just because you didn't have to like do any cycles of
Very true.
Catching up to him or anything either. So that's going to help us a lot. I think based on the time here that we are all good, and we're going to grab this heart container just to help us out. But we should be good to do Goron race. What are you thinking?
I think so. It's hard to tell because once you kill Goat, the timer goes away and time freezes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 2:44.
Yeah,
We've got plenty of
2:44.
time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna risk it for the biscuit, and we're gonna do Goron race, even though I hate it.
So Goron race is one of the I would say it's probably the biggest source of RNG-based time loss in the run. I don't know if you have a different opinion, but that's my current thought on it for sure. The race can be difficult because the NPCs can sometimes cause Link to lose all of his speed, and it can be really difficult depending on rubber banding behaviors to recover that. So we'll see. There is probably time for 1 or 2 retries depending on how the races go. But ideally, we will not need to retry the race. The race is important because it gives us enough bottles to quickly do the Zora Eggs segment that's coming up in Great Bay. Additionally, the gold dust is useful for some shopping in Clocktown, depending on your route.
So Sway is absolutely right. This is probably the kind of the worst. And I'd mentioned earlier in the run that I felt like Snowhead, and like once you begin that whole section, it is the worst. It is sandwiched. It's awful. The beginning with the hot water can be a point of reset. This is potentially buggy, just carrying this bomb. And the race itself, oh no. See, this is the kind of shenanigans you get. Basically, it's just this whole part is awful and terrible. And yeah, after that, we just kind of coast.
Yeah, the bridges are a little quirky. You may be familiar if you've seen any recent Pan and Coic videos. So this is something that kind of similarly happens to invisible walls in Super Mario 64, but there's super small gaps in the bridges, which when crossed can cause Link to drop the powder keg. So sometimes that can happen while you're doing RTA runs and cause you to drop the powder keg, which can, you know, worst case,
like to attack
it might fall into the water, but yeah. But yeah, here's the Goron race. This is my personal favorite part of this segment when I don't lose a run to it. So
I think as a casual player, this was one of my favorite parts, especially since it gave the gold dust. So as a casual player, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I can get Gilded Sword. That's really cool, you know. But then as a speedrunner, you're like, oh boy, I'd rather jab myself in the face with a pencil.
So far, it looks like the NPCs are giving you some grace here. So
yeah. The good news is because of the rubber banding and how aggressive it is. So right now the run's not over. Basically, unless you wipe out at the very end, or have a really catastrophic series of like the enemies hitting you and not getting back into spikes, you're usually okay. But you can never be sure.
That's so true. There's a few general strategies for making the race more consistent. Typically, Link only loses his spikes if he gets hit like basically directly from the back, or if like someone hits him into a wall. Those are kind of the big loss modes. But this race went super great, and there's our gold dust reward.
That is probably the best race I've had in months. No joke.
It can definitely be a little silly when you're doing attempts. So now we're going to get our free powder keg from the Metagoron, who licenses us to carry the powder kegs. And we're going to use that to clear out the massive rock blocking us from accessing the ranch. And we're going to try to do all that in a nice, timely manner. It is almost nighttime. So as I mentioned, our goal here is to get into Romani Ranch well before 6 p.m. so that we can complete Romani's game and unlock Epona and unlock the alien side quest so that we can get that extra bottle.
The good news is we have more than enough time. The beginner route, you'll have so much time because you end up going back in time before you tackle the next part of the run. We don't have that, unfortunately, but still, once you get consistent with the dungeon, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, big agree.
So that's a 1-frame window to transform like that. Is it necessary? No, but it's kind of what you would consider dead time between small cinematics, and it does help. And there are times where being in different forms, different Link forms, actually ends up speeding things up, less text boxes and so on and so forth. So if you see me rapidly changing forms, that's why.
All right, so we're gonna get into the game here. So this is there's a little bit of routing that goes on here, a little bit of just trying to aim on your N64 controller, but this can be done fairly quickly. The not mandatory time limit is around a minute, but this can be done and well under that when you are a seasoned speedrunner like Tristnal.
Seasoned, does I miss so many shots? I love it.
It's the Ranch Classic.
Marathon time, baby.
Seconds. That's pretty good.
Yeah, actually 32 seconds is rather quick considering.
Yeah.
There are some cool so because Goron is even faster than Epona, oh no, I ran out of magic. We do have options, and I'm gonna do one of those, and hopefully it works and we run into no issues. Normally you'd want to ride Epona after this area. What am I doing? You'd want to ride Epona out to Great Bay. We're not going to do that. We're going to Goron, and then we're just going to bomb jump over the gate like a badass. But first, we have to beat the Gorman brothers.
Yeah, so it's important to beat these guys in a race, which is the biggest. This is like the primary reason that we need Epona prior to the completion of day 1, is to get the Garrow's Mask, which is required in order to access Ikana Canyon. So if we don't do this, we literally cannot access the last quarter of the game. So it's really critical that we do all the ranch stuff day 1. As if getting all the bottles for the Zora eggs wasn't enough time save. This is basically infinite time save because you would lose a lot of time if you were not able to get the Garrow's Mask on day 1.
So normally I would jump over the fence. I mismanaged my carrots, so we just don't take the chance. We just drive around because as you can see, that's on nearly 50 seconds for that race. If you lose it, you'll just have to redo the race, which isn't that big a deal, but that's 50 seconds of time loss, right? So that's fairly significant.
That's not great for your in-game timer either, for sure.
No.
All right, so that's kind of all the ranch stuff done. We've gotten what we need to get done there, and now we're going to go to Great Bay to unlock the Zora Mask. I feel like that happens. I've seen that happen a few times.
The hitbox is awful.
Yeah, it's a really strange hitbox, but we're gonna do a Goron bomb jump here. So the kind of key is that Goron rolling is a little bit faster than Epona. So if we can Goron roll somewhere, we do, and it's faster to do a bomb jump than to call Epona and play the song, get on Epona, get enough speed to jump over the fence. It's a little faster to just pull out Goron Link and do a bomb jump. Everyone gets some F's in the chat for Mikau.
Silly
rest in
goose.
peace.
One of the cool things is with this, we're able to skip cinematics, and that means Mikau is just already on the beach for us, and you don't have to do the very janky in every version of the game thing where you push him onto the beach and he takes forever to simply walk up. It's weird.
Yeah, it's at least nice on day 1 because he's the closest to the beach on the vanilla versions of the game. Versus like day 3, he starts out like way past the observatory. So, all right. So now that we have the Zora Mask, we're going to go into the Pirate's Fortress to get the hook shot. The hook shot is essential for entering the 3rd temple, the Great Bay Temple. We need the hook shot in order to jump on to the Turtle Guardian that gets us to the temple. It can be a little bit tight trying to get some extra speed here just because the pirates have a pretty generous for them, not so generous for the player. Pretty generous sight line, so it can be pretty easy to accidentally get spotted here.
Yeah, and so I missed it.
Play it a little safe.
Yeah, because they throw you out. That's a good 30, 40 seconds you're losing. So
yeah, it's pretty rough.
Marathon safe strats, baby.
So at this point in the run, the pressure on the in-game clock is mostly alleviated with the better song of. That's not necessarily true in the vanilla versions of the game, but with 2-ship we have access to the MM3D better song of double time, and so we can go forward to particular points in time. On the N64 and Wii VC versions of the game, a little bit of manual time management is needed. Typically, players will uninvert time. So if you're not familiar with the way that the Song of Time can affect time in Majora's Mask, there's an inverted Song of Time which slows down time by, I believe it slows it down by 1/3. And there's the double Song of Time, which makes you move forward, and I could be mentioning the Majora's Mask 3D version of the Better Song of Double Time lets you move forward to particular points in time. So in the Pirate's Fortress, typically on console versions of the game, runners will manually manage the speed of time by uninverting time to set the flow of time to normal. And then somewhere around like 10 p.m., they will re-invert time to slow down time. And that's just some good old time management. So if you've been missing your doctor's appointments, warm up with speedruns of Majora's Mask, maybe.
It'll do wonders. Or your doctor will call you an idiot. One or the other. But you can submit times.
One of the quality of life features that Two-Ship has, you can actually instantly recall the Zorafin boomerang. So we don't use that in the run, but that is an option that exists within the game. Nice swag strap, by the way.
Mm-hmm. That is something I'm very proud to say. With even the limited people in the community that we have so far, we've come up with some swaggy strats that are cool, and they actually save time, and it's just fun all around. Okay.
Glitchless is definitely a pretty refreshing category. And the cool part is largely the routing, so it's nice that, at the high level there's tricks to make things hard. And here we have a skip. That's a cutscene skip that prevents the pirates prevents a cutscene from playing here, where the pirates discuss some things that lose time. But yeah, there's still skill expression at the top level, but there's accessible ways to start learning the route, which I really enjoy about this run. All right, there's our hook shot.
So now is going to be the time when I start to get a little bit weird with menuing, and unfortunately that's just kind of part of the game, and we're at that point. But it'll be a lot of do one thing, juggle the menus, do another thing, juggle the menus. So this is one of those situations, however, when you can do a few things, because we have this Better Song of Double Time. There's no reason for me to actually wait and finish Woodfall, so I'm gonna do it right now, because I can do it. It changes nothing, and in fact, when I go and do Akana Canyon a little bit later, it acts as a safety, so I won't actually get one shot, which is just wonderful.
That's true too, yeah. So there's a little skip here that you can do once you have the hook shot, where we can just zoom up right up to the torch.
Or miss
Actually,
it
I think that little guy helped you. No, the little guy helped you out, repositioned you. But now that we have the fire, it's faster to do this temple once we have the hook shot, and the fire arrows essentially saves us a good bit of time here. So that's one other...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to just mention a small quality of life feature here. You can actually cycle through the magical arrow types with the R button. I think it is on the latest version of Two-Ship. So you don't need to pause to cycle magical arrows, which is nice.
So in the standard version of this route coming from the base version of the game, so when I say base version, N64, Wii U, Virtual Console, that kind of stuff, we would actually be getting the key our first time around, and then leaving with the bow. It's a small time difference, and really, truthfully, I'm not sure if it matters more than about 15 seconds one way or the other. This way feels a little bit better flowing through the dungeon, so I do it the second way. And this is that kind of route and skill expression that we've mentioned a number of times, where if something feels better for you, at least the way I see it is when you're looking at under 30 seconds either way, do whatever you like, right? There's no reason not to. So
It's almost time for Odalwa. Odalwa's the Woodfall Temple boss. He is. There's a lot of different ways to beat Odalwa, and that was definitely by design. Nintendo kind of gave the player a few different ways to decide. There's bombs. There's you can use your arrow and sword. There's a few different ways. So you'll see pretty shortly how we decide to take care of it, but. That's coming up here once we just finish this room. We gotta kill these. The dragonflies suck.
yeah, they do.
Easily the most annoying enemy in the game for me. But
now, if I do Odalwa correctly, he doesn't actually get to do anything. That's the play. So we'll see. But no guarantees.
all right, good luck.
Nope. So he does have a really weird hitbox, and it's very front loaded, meaning he has a much larger area to hit in the front near his toes than he does near his heels. So if you're behind him, you could miss a lot of shots. So right now this is probably the worst RNG I could be getting. Yeah.
That was very nice.
It wouldn't be a marathon if Odalwa wasn't being a jerk, right?
Oh, you're headed. There we go.
Oh no. Well,
this is the second phase of Odalwa. This can happen sometimes with some bad RNG. He's going to summon these kind of little crawly ads that you can lure away with the bombs that are around the arena. But that's not going to be super necessary because we're going to close it out.
he has a number of different patterns he can do, and the part where he jumps and teleports away, he's supposed to only do that about 25% of the time. You tell me how them numbers panned out, because boy howdy, did work out very well for me.
Sometimes it's just how the runs go.
Absolutely.
So there's a few errands that we have around Clocktown now that it's getting a little late. So this is one of the things that runners on the console versions will speed up time for. So one thing that we need to do here is we need to go to the Curiosity Shop and pawn off our gold dust for 200 rupees. So that'll give us enough money to buy another powder keg. So we're going to go forward in time here to make that happen. We don't need to make quite that distinction. And so we'll get the powder keg. And the powder keg is important for Kana Canyon. We need that to open up the roof to let some light in. And we'll be able to show that off when it comes up. But we will need that powder keg later in the run. And then there's also a fish here in the trading outpost that we grabbed for the Beneath the Well segment. So this is basically all Ikana Canyon prep that we can do here in Clocktown prior to going there directly.
Yeah, ideally you're not supposed to talk to random people as you go, but Sometimes you just gotta make the run
Sometimes,
spicy.
yeah, the conversation hitboxes are always. I always end up getting caught by the bombers.
They are probably the worst, along with the workers here in South Clocktown, for just getting in your way.
Yeah, I accidentally run into them all the time. All right, there is a little bit of. So we're going into the Ikana region here. And one minor thing that we are looking for is bombs, which I think we already have in good supply. But
Yeah.
um,
There are backup strats, though, in the graveyard in case we need them, which is nice. Arrows are a little bit low, but we can get those as well.
yeah, should hopefully be okay. These blue bubbles can be really a pain. They're often the source of a big time loss, particularly in the Stone Tower Temple. If you get hit by them, it makes it so that Link can't use his sword for a good solid minute. So ideally, not getting hit by those is really good. All right, that's a little hidden grotto for anyone who hasn't run into that one.
That grotto actually is used in the beginner route because you'll have gone back in time and you'll need a Deku stick, and you can always get Deku sticks inside that grotto. So fun little...
But the rocks are a good source of arrows, so we use it that way.
Oh no. Well, sometimes this is what happens when you screw up real big.
You should be okay. There we go. So this Captain Kita fight, you basically have to engage him before he makes it to the end of the course, or else you have to restart. And the Goron roll is probably the fastest way of doing big damage to him. As you can see, yeah, it does pretty good damage. I believe it's 2 or 3 against him. So that's going to give us another key item here that we're going to use as we go through Iconic Canyon. And the captain's hat is going to go allow us to go into these graves. So it's important that we do this on night 1. On night 1, this specific grave is being guarded by the guards here. And if we don't open this one, we aren't able to access its contents. So we have to do this on night 1. And we're going to go in. There's going to be a dark net waiting for us. And we are going to learn the Song of Storms, which is basically going to help us with unlocking more of Ikana Canyon.
Why don't I have a stick? Oh no.
Maybe you should have gone to the grotto.
I'm going to show you guys the grotto that we didn't go to because, oh, you know what? When I went to Woodfall the second time, I didn't grab the stick that I normally grab. Oh boy.
That's what backups are for?
Yeah, boy is my face red. There we go.
So this is basically our stick backup. You can get a stick and Deku nuts from in here. So we need the stick to move some fire around, basically to unlock the Darknut trial room. So we're going to take the fire from this torch using the stick and light a few torches, which will unlock the door. Where would we be without our handy dandy Deku stick?
Right?
All right, now this fight can be really tough because the Darknut does a lot of damage, and we only have 5 hearts right now. So I think each of these hits does about 3 damage, 3 full hearts of damage. So suffice to say, you do not want to be taking any of these to the face.
No.
Especially now, he basically like immediately acts out of the cutscene, so it can be really easy to get hit after he sheds his armor. So this is a good time to use arrows to kind of keep some distance.
Yeah, that is
Can't do it at the beginning, but yeah. right, and we skip the Song of Storms cutscene, and that's the Song of Storms. So now we can use that to pacify Sharp, who's one of the Sharp brothers. We've basically learned his brother's song, and are going to use that to stop him from torturing the canyon with drought, basically.
And the cinematic that we skip coming up here with the storm, Song of Storms, and it starts pumping the water again to the house. That is, I want to say, one of the longest in the game. And so having the
it's long.
having the cinematic skip for that is, oh, it's so good.
That's really nice.
Yeah, we debated the cinematic skip when we first kind of put the category together, and we kind of came to the conclusion that we like the original game the way it is, and that's cool. They have their stuff, but we want to stand out kind of on our own. And I also don't want to be here all day, so yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think the cutscene skips are like one of the nicest features about two ship, and this is kind of a precise. There
we go.
Yeah, hook shot. There we go. But the cutscene skips are definitely like the nicest part of doing two ship runs. It saves like at a minimum like at least half an hour throughout the course of the run. You'll notice that's based on the world record difference. So right now the world record in two ship is around 206. World record for Glitchless Any is about 40 minutes slower than that. So, and the world record is really optimized for console runs. So, all right, so we need to get in here to unlock the Gibdo mask. This is basically a father and daughter living in Ikana Canyon. I'm not really sure why you would want to live here, but they are. And so they are a team of undead researchers, essentially. And our goal is to get in there because the father has been turned into a Gibdo, and we need to change him back with the Song of Healing in order to get the mask that we use to progress underneath the well.
What? Okay, so if you get too
sometimes,
close
yeah,
to
sometimes
him,
that'll happen there. Yeah, there's a cutscene skip, and the cutscene skip will kind of let you get a little bit closer to the cabinet. And if he touches you, there's a cutscene that plays that basically kicks you out. So we'll need to go back in and do it again. And there we go. Nothing ever happened.
You guys saw nothing. I'll be back 1 second.
I think Tristnal is BMing the game. What we're doing here is we have some downtime to wait. This is a great time for donations. Essentially, we're going to do the alien segment next, so that's going to give us another bottle for getting the Zora eggs in a little bit. We're going to save that for after doing the bottom of the well and getting the mirror shield. But we have until 3:40 essentially to show up to the ranch before we lose. The aliens show up a little bit sooner than that, but that's the time at which the aliens will first touch the barn, which triggers the lose condition for this. Yeah, there we go.
So I don't mind starting the aliens a little bit earlier because they move. Their movement speed is actually tied to whether or not you are slowing down time or have it going regular. So we do speed it up regular, so obviously we get through this faster, but... This part is all very straightforward. If you just stand on this box, you'll have access to every single alien as they come. And I recommend not like rapid firing. Just kind of wait, be patient, because you only have to last until 5:15 in the morning, and then they all go away.
We're almost there. Just 10 more minutes. I lied. 15.
I was looking at the clock. I'm like, I don't even know what's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Is it 5?
5:15.
5:15, yeah.
So we should be good right now. I can wait this out. Just to be safe.
I would be too scared of marathon strats. You're probably good though, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. 5:15. There we go.
There we go. That was a victory for the good guys. And there's our bottle reward. So with that, we've got 3 bottles. And that'll allow us, basically 3 bottles is the perfect amount of bottles that we need to progress in collecting Zora eggs. So we grabbed 1 earlier, and then we'll grab a couple more. Or we'll grab a few more in bouts of 2 when we go back to Great Bay. But for now, we're going to continue in Iconic Canyon by grabbing the Mirror Shield.
Oh.
Hurt my sword? No. So yeah, this is you guys will see that the debuff lasts for like a good minute. So when this happens, Link is unable to use his sword for the debuff time. All right. So this is where one of the enhancements that I mentioned comes into play from 2-Ship. So this, in the run, we use the Majora's Mask 3D Beneath the Well requirements. So essentially it gets rid of needing quantities of Deku Nuts and bombs and the beans. And just allows you to cash in just 1 of these. And so that's just kind of a quality of life thing. It doesn't change the route. Barely anything. Saves just half a minute of routing. A minute, maybe.
Yeah, the idea with a lot of the choices as far as routing and what settings we would allow, it's, we want to preserve the integrity of the speedrun without ruining it. So like there is a setting in game right now to skip the Goron race, and as much as I would pay dearly to not have to do it, we do recognize that that is a part of the run. However, things that were included in Majora's Mask 3D, we also see as... Oh, what am I doing?
Yeah, they're kind of canonical alternatives to the original experience. So wherever the game can be made more fun, basically by integrating aspects of Majora's Mask 3D, we basically said, yeah, let's do that. And so you kind of end up with a run compared to the console version that's just kind of more pleasant to do repeated attempts on. I'll say it's a lot more. There's a lot less downtime. Specifically for glitchless any percent, I think. NMG and like hundo categories definitely. They still see some like changes in their route, but it's a little bit less felt in terms of total time saved than it is for any percent glitchless, which is significant. Like I mentioned, it's like a 30 to 40 minute time save just from the quality of life changes alone. I want to give a shout out. We're at $1,625 raised. So shout outs to folks who have been donating throughout the course of the run. We appreciate you guys. All right, so we've completed Woodfall Temple and Ikana. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Great Bay again, and we're going to turn in one of the Zora eggs. So there are 7 total Zora eggs to get. 4 of them are contained in the Pirate's Fortress, one of which we grabbed earlier. And then there are 3 to get guarded by a bunch of sea serpents. So we're going to go get those after we get the... after we drop this off. We kind of lace together the Pirate's Fortress and the Sea Chasm to get some speed up how we get the eggs, since we only have 3 bottles. It is possible to come here with 4 bottles just to get it all at once, but it's not particularly fast. There is a beaver race that you can do to get a 4th bottle, which can be done as a backup 3rd bottle if the ranch cycle is missed. But the pace for a run that would back that up is a lot slower than a higher level run would be on this route. Probably be a good beginner backup.
Something worth noting about the routes, and I'm particularly proud of this because I've been the one to primarily handle a lot of the routing between... We have 2 beginner routes, one of which is the Gilded Sword route, so that makes the end game, which is the stage we're in now, significantly easier, because that's when you're fighting the most things, and Gilded Sword basically just makes it so you can coast through all of it. That is the most efficient guide that we have right now for beginners. The standard route is still faster by a margin, but that's one of the other things too, is that even between the different routes, they're all very competitive. And so if you're die hard about the Gilded Sword run, you can absolutely improve on that and get it to a spot where that is going to be competitive on the leaderboards to the highest level.
We're gonna do a little collision boost there to skip a good chunk of... There's pirate fights here for each of these eggs, and we're able to skip one of them by performing that damage boost almost. Very nice.
I almost died. Those clams can be real jerks.
Yeah, the clams are really, really annoying. All right, that's a cool little sequence break. So this is the exit for this area. So we skip another one of the pirate fights by entering through the back where Link would normally exit. And that's a small optimization what Tristnal just did. Basically transforming while you're sinking in the water will skip Link's surfacing animation. Typically you'll need to surface in order to transform, but under certain conditions you can just switch straight to Zora Link. So It saves a little bit of time.
It is worth noting too, at least I think so, and maybe Sway can speak to this, but a lot of the tech that's in this run, I don't believe there's anything in this run that is difficult to do. Nothing. A brand new player could pick all of it up in a matter of an hour. And and meaning that like it's very accessible. Bomb boosts and all that stuff. So nothing is terribly restrictive.
Yeah, I think the nice thing about Glitchless Any Percent is that it's a neat accessible category. It's cool to beat the game in 2 hours. And the beginner routes definitely contain like it's mostly sequence breaks and a few like small technical tricks that are relatively forgiving in terms of timing or setup. And I think the like top level of the glitchless category for the most part features a lot of those same relatively straightforward setups tricks. But there's a few there's a few like major skips that are like more like I know people reset to Big Octo skip all the time because it's quirky.
True.
Sometimes.
Big Octo is a skip that I don't even do because it is different on this version as well. Just by virtue of what we're playing on. It's not massively different, but it's different enough, and it's not something that I would be taking out in a marathon, that's for sure. Sway is the only runner that has successfully done one in a run to date, so that kind of tells you how rare of a skill it is given the current community and kind of with the strats we have. That being said, with more people with eyes on it trying to learn it, we might find better, more efficient ways to set up for it, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, especially if you play on, because a lot of like I personally run on HD textures, so some of the setups are a little bit different.
Absolutely.
It is possible to toggle off the HD textures on a whim. I don't know if you have it bound.
I don't, unfortunately.
No, I have it bound to tab, so you can bind it if you want to make use of existing like console visual setups. But a lot of the HD texture setups are fairly similar. There's just a few different visual cues that you can use. So. You have options either way, which is kind of the theme of Two Ship. Is you have options if you like the way the game was, you can play it exactly as it was. If you want a little bit, you can add HD textures. If you want to add moon jumps, you can do that.
Yeah, wait, but I mean, come on, who would have cheats on in a speed run? Like, why would anybody? Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, so we're here at Pinnacle Rock, and our goal is to grab the 3 eggs that are here guarded by these sea snakes. So they're fairly easy to kill if you have some magic. It's a little bit slower to kill them without magic, but our magic supply seems to be healthy enough to at least get the last few eggs.
As long as you're not being dumb with it, which I can't guarantee.
I believe in you.
The hitboxes on these sea snakes can be a little bit odd. And they are wider at the tip.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah, you want to be close enough that you're going to be able to hit the snake's body when it zips past you, but not so close that he'll bite you on the way by. So, the good news is, though, that there's always magic in the banana stand. Right here.
That's true.
So I'm going to grab that just because we're going to need that anyways. But it also lets us get a little bit bold. There we go.
All right, that's the last egg. So we need these eggs to bring them back to the Marine Observatory so that we can unlock the 3rd quest song, which is the New Wave Bossa Nova, which is my personal favorite of the 4 quest songs, personally. But the new wave Bossa Nova will awaken the turtle that takes us to the Great Bay Temple and allows us to progress there.
So instead of swimming out the way we came, we're just going to void out. And this is, again, one
Yeah,
of
this is
those
nice,
things
yeah.
where understanding where voiding out is going to save you time or make your life easier comes in handy.
Yeah. This I'll call attention to this Zora movement, kind of diving in and out of the water is slightly faster. There's a little bit of a speed boost that you get, so it's slightly faster than just swimming, which is a little faster than walking. So that's one thing about Two Ship 2. So one of the unpopular features in Majora's Mask 3D is that fast swimming requires magic. So their trade-off was kind of make it easier to control swimming, but in exchange you need magic. A lot of people didn't really like that. So in Two Ship, you can swim like you did in the N64 release, but you can also pull a bunch of other quality of life changes from MM3D.
Kind of surprised that we haven't been able to get this skipped yet, although it might be skipped in the updated version. It's just smart not to update a program right before you do a marathon.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I'll have to check and
So
see.
yeah, Two Ship does get pretty regular updates. Most of the updates right now are around the randomizer functionality, but there's a bunch of bug fixes that happen on every release as well. So
the devs are super cool as well as about hearing you out, and they have been very, very cool about supporting the speedrun community. Obviously not above and beyond anything else, not that we would ever ask that, but I do think it definitely is worth noting that they have been awesome to us so far. And where they couldn't, Sway just coded it himself, so it works out well.
It's nice. Yeah, I'll have to get a lot of us want live split support for integrated splits. So yeah, that'll be something that I know Proxy Saw was interested in that, but that's the cool thing about having these PC ports is like you can mod them. So something like live split, like built-in live split, auto splitting, without having to use like a memory engine is just possible. You can just build it into the game, which is cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna catch a couple fairies. I haven't needed them, but that's exactly what you say right before everything goes wrong. And this run has taken a few left-hand turns.
That is true. Livewire said live split support is easy. So guys, live split is coming to you next week. Livewire will be adding that to Two Ship, so keep an eye out for that.
I appreciate you. We have a thread in the Discord. Come on in, say hi, and then do that pull request when we get that done. I would very much appreciate it.
Yeah, towards the end of the run, I'll send it. We'll be sending and sharing a link to the Harbor Masters Discord, which is where the Two Ship discourse happens. So definitely check that out.
I can't say enough good about the Harbor Masters community. Very cool people. If you like Ocarina or Star Fox or Majora, you kind of need to, you owe it to yourself to at least go check it out. Cool people, great support for anything you might have going wrong, and there's mods, there's races, there's just damn cool people. I've met some very awesome folks since getting involved with the community, both as a moderator for this game, but just kind of in general. It's sparked my enjoyment of Ocarina and Majora massively. So shoutouts to those guys because they are awesome.
Big agree. Big agree.
So if you were one of the massive amount of people that hates this this temple, I can't really say anything to help that. The speedrun does kind of make it, I don't know, better, but not. It's not even better. It's just repetition. This whole temple sucks. The boss sucks. There's not a fast way of, like, you can't get upgrades to make it easier. George is a dick. So yeah, I'm with you. Let's all just be grumpy together.
I do like the sequence breaks in this dungeon. It kind of, it doesn't get like super optimal, but it does it is just a lot more streamlined compared to the casual experience.
100%. And that's kind of one of those situations, same as Snowhead, where I think once you've learned the speedrun method, you kind of struggle to do the, I guess, the intended route, because why would you, you know? No, there we go.
That was nice.
Yeah, so Wart is a jerk, but we'll take the bomb damage. That's, just throw a bomb away, why not?
Yeah, kind of the goal here is to hit the eyeball, and he's got this protective film of bubbles around him that we're easily able to pierce using the bombs. So it's a big part of like the start of the fight. And then a big part of this is kind of cleaning up all the bubbles that are getting in the way of us just attacking him.
Lots of little flashing. Yeah. If we time it right, it's easier with the gilded sword, but there's lots of little flashing, so if you're sensitive, I definitely look away. This is not, I don't know why they did it this way, but you know, here we are. Oh, come on. There we go.
The eyeball took one for the team there.
Yes, he did.
All right.
That's not a horrible wart. It definitely could have gone better, and I wish it would have. But you know, the absolute worst is like you take a death because the bubbles are just everywhere, and sometimes they swarm you. So
the bubbles can definitely like swarm in a way that is just really, really annoying to deal with. And yeah, like Tristnal mentioned, it can just be just awkward enough that you end up taking lethal damage. Fortunately, there's those fairies outside the dungeon, but you know, ideally you don't need to waste the time on the respawn cutscene. All right, so now that we have the ice arrows, we're able to freeze this Octorok to progress in the dungeon. And we use the 2-ship TM quality of life feature of arrow cycling. No pausing needed. You just hit the R button and you go from regular arrow to ice arrow.
it really is very, very nice. This is a dungeon where you are going to find yourself bonking on everything. All the time ever. That's just kind of, it doesn't matter how good you get at swimming, at some point you're gonna bonk, and the game is just kind of bad for it. What am I doing?
That's factual.
Oh, almost lost the magic to the edge there.
So our goal here is to activate some valves that will allow us to reverse the flow of the water windmill in the central room that we've been going through. And that is required for us to reach the boss. So our whole goal right now is to reverse that flow by activating these valves. And once we're able to do that, we're able to get to the boss room pretty quick. We do still have to get the boss key, which we have to reverse the flow of the water first. But
I think a lot of people get super confused about this first part because you end up having to come back here twice, and I understand why. But after this, it really is straightforward. There's not really much to it. You don't have to revisit anything, and yeah. This, however, is not intended.
Not intended, but it is fast.
Yeah.
We skip a whole other evil frog fight by just grabbing onto that ledge, and that is fast.
So that's hard. You only have a very small amount of room there to be able to roll, and you want to roll so that way you get the extra distance, and then you won't actually dive in the water. But I didn't get it because I didn't get it.
Yeah, that happens. So there is in a recent 2-ship release, they did add a feature that allows you to disable Link like diving into water. It looks a little bit less cool, but sometimes you accidentally dive when you didn't mean to dive, like there, for example. So it makes the behavior for movement a little bit more consistent if you're looking for that.
Yeah, Zora Link is bad for that. If he jumps at any point over a body of water, he'll just try and dive, and the dive animation stops your forward momentum pretty substantially, so it's friggin' awful.
Yeah, it has this really awkward fixed momentum that is a lot slower than a normal jump. Especially a roll jump.
True.
Alright, so the red valves were essentially to get us into this room, which allows us to toggle the green valve. So the green valve will allow us to reverse the flow of the water here. So
this is where you'll see the void out. The start of the void outs. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, that's the first one. This is where you're going to see them. So that allows you to kind of get to the entrance of the room really quickly. And here, we're going to change the flow of the water using the red valve. And so the red valve is going to reverse the flow of the water, and the green valve gets us into the boss room, essentially. So there's 2 valves that we need to hit. So what Tristnal's going to do is going to hit this red valve. That's going to stop the water because they're opposing streams. And then we'll toggle the yellow valve so that we can reverse the flow of the water wheel. And then what's going to happen is that once the water wheel animation is done, and you'll see there actually 2-ship has a faster push-pull animation there that it uses to speed up those cutscenes. But we're going to void out, and we're going to end up back in the water wheel room, and that's fast. I thought Link was going to get a big head bonk there.
Yeah, me too. I was prepared for it.
Alright, so now we're able to go through kind of the rooms backwards.
And from here on out, the dungeon is very, very simple. Everything is more or less straightforward. Oh, well, ran out of time. Okay. It's okay. There are plenty of opportunities for arrows and magic coming up. Just a couple more rooms, and then we're in to fight George.
Canonical pronunciation for that? I say Georg, but
you know, it's crazy.
I believe you if it was George.
If you go to the Harbor Master 64 Discord right now, at any point in time, you are bound to run into a heated discussion on what people call it. And it always starts off as a joke, and people will be like, oh, I like George, I like Georg, you know, like whatever. And then eventually somebody will be like, no, I'm 100% serious, I call it this, and it gets intense fast.
We'll have to avoid the same argument in the middle of the event. I don't know if that would be PG watching.
Yeah, we don't need chat getting in here getting all, it's Georg. I don't need that.
All right, that's the end of our water puzzle. So this is we're almost at the boss key, or sorry, not the boss key. We're almost at the point here where we're able to enter the boss room. We're able to go back into the central room, and then by going all the way to the bottom, now that the flow is reversed, we're able to enter the boss room. And now that the green valve has been activated at all of the locations, we're able to access the final boss. George.
Georg is one of those boss fights that I kind of detest because there's a lot of camera issues that you run into, and it's pretty evident. And you guys will see it because you run into a situation where part way through the fight, he'll move into what would be his second phase, and it just sits Link. And you can't move, you can't do anything, and it leaves you unable to really do anything. And it's kind of a matter of, I don't know, being really good at the game so you don't get hit, and damn it, that ain't me.
Sometimes, you just gotta get good.
Yeah, like that, I kind of got lucky there, but that's okay. Ideally, you hit, you get out of the water. Oh, no. No.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was a little bit unfair. You were kind of on the platform.
A little bit.
So, Georg likes to eat you as the player, and it's really annoying because you lose a lot of health from it, and it's just a generally long damage cutscene. So, yeah, this is definitely one of the boss quick kills, which takes the most practice.
A good rule of thumb, though, if you're trying to avoid him and trying to avoid getting eaten after you swim from him, is try and keep the pillar between you and him, which I'm sure you're sitting there going, well, duh, Trist. But, like, easier said than done, my friends. So this is the cinematic, though, that screws you every single time, and that's why we have those fairies, because if I get eated, she's over, friends. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it spawns you kind of like right next to Georg, so you end up just having to get eaten sometimes.
And this, my friends, is why safety fairies are a thing. Always practice safe bottling. And that's the other thing, is he's got those damn piranhas out. So technically, yeah, you can do that. And if you catch him, you can stun him and hit him again. It's a risk versus reward, and in a marathon, I don't know, risky biscuits are hard to come by, so. But I'd already taken a fairy, so you might as well go for it.
It's true. So Two-Ship actually does have a feature that allows you to skip those skip these item cutscenes. We don't use it for speedruns because there's only like a handful of cutscene animations, and they're to not do it is kind of just just feels like it's not in the spirit of the run. We already skip all the cutscenes, so skipping the item cutscenes is a little bit strange, but it's useful for the randomizer. If you're into randomizers, the experience is really nice. You just kind of pick up an item, and then you don't get an item cutscene. You just get the item.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hat on a hat situation. So we just kind of roll with it and hope for the best. And if you're not sure what a hat on a hat situation is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I'd put like a bowler hat on top of a fedora.
That's a good hat pairing, you know?
I think so.
It's a good quality hat pairing. So the only downside to this section is there's a lot of mask swapping because it's kind of a pain.
The nice thing is, though, that we have those 4 extra D-pad slots
Oh yeah.
For items, so that makes it so there's a lot less pause menuing going on compared to the console vanilla runs. We're going to take a little bit of damage here to more quickly hit this button. I promise it's faster.
It doesn't seem like it because I kind of screwed that up, but it is faster.
So there's going to be a little bit of a sequence break coming up involving the use of the powder keg. So normally what's going to happen here is that you unlock the second path. So there's like 2 paths that you take here. You unlock the second path, but what we're going to do here is the result of the second path is unlocking the ability to kind of break this hole in the ceiling with a powder keg. But here we're just going to sequence break and get over the roof using a bomb jump. And then do a little bit of cutscene skipping.
Yeah. That
pretty
you
nice.
only really have one shot at, because if you miss it, yeah, you get locked in cutscenes. It's not great.
Nah. So that's that, and then here we're going to get right into a mid-boss to unlock the 4th and final temple song, which is the Elegy of Emptiness. So the Elegy of Emptiness, that's another thing that kind of gets a quality of life improvement here in 2-ship, is that you're able to skip kind of the cutscene. And fun fact, the bubble does a lot of damage to these guys. Like a lot. There's a lot of niche enemy weaknesses that you would basically never know about through normal gameplay, but fortunately people have been playing the game for so long, but also there's the public decompilation project, which allows us to take a look at the code and manually figure out, without having to play the game, we can figure out weaknesses that each enemy has. That's going to come into play when we get into Twin Mold, which I'll explain more when we get there. That's the final boss we're going to do before we fight the final boss on the moon.
You know, it's funny because I feel like every time we've gotten to a boss so far, I say I hate that boss. Twin Mold's the worst, and I hate that boss. So, make it what you will. I don't know.
You've been wasting your hate the boss statements.
Yeah, it's.
You should have saved them all for Twin Mold.
It really is the top of the list as far as bosses that can either be really, really awesome, and you're like, oh wow, that wasn't that bad, and then later you're like, well, I really wish that didn't ever happen again.
So there you'll see there's kind of like these quality of life improvements around Ocarina of Songs. First of all, there's a faster playback where the playback, it skips like playing it again for you before you're actionable. And then also there's a cutscene where Link will basically like walk forward when he spawns the statue. So that cutscene gets skipped here as well. So just kind of a summation of these quality of life improvements that make 2-ship runs kind of a joy. So I would say we're on a pretty good, I'm looking at the pace here. This is a pretty solid pace. I think we're going to go into Twin mold, probably like finished twin mold around the 2 hour mark. So that's a pretty good run so far.
Yeah, my guess is about a 211, 212.
Yeah.
But I'm also heavily negative about my own runs, so who knows?
That's okay. I'm here to give you the opposite vibe. So is chat.
We're vibing, chat. Thank you. Oh, okay.
Did you fall? Okay, I thought you fell for a second. I was going to cry. So that's a little bit of a this is kind of the optimal way to get around the stone tower temple climb. Knowing which switches to hit and when helps a lot with speeding up the casual climb to the top of the tower. So this is definitely fully applicable in all of your casual playthroughs. I highly recommend it because otherwise the climb gets pretty tedious otherwise.
Understatement and a half. But that's kind of the entire game in a nutshell, right? We've said numerous times, particularly in the dungeons, you know, these situations, you know, the speed run tends to run very efficient through the dungeons. And as much as I love Majora's Mask for a number of reasons, it's not the best designed as far as like the dungeons go, in my humblest of opinions. Yeah, he was behind me. I don't know why I did that. we don't talk about it, you know? So Stone Tower Temple, ironically, is probably the most straightforward dungeon in the entire game, in my opinion. It just kind of makes sense, but again, it's one of those things where the speed run just kind of fits, and it makes sense, and everything else just falls into place, because it skips all the unnecessary crap.
Yeah, I really like doing the bomb jump in the first inverted room during NMG runs. It's a cool segment during speed runs. A lot of stuff gets skipped and streamlined.
Ah, damn. So if you aim yourself properly when you fall, your mirror shield will actually trigger that block. It's a small time save. We're talking like a second, not even. But the swag that you get, right? Like, and I think we can all agree, if you're not speedrunning for the swag points, then what are we doing here?
I have to agree with you, honestly.
Oh no. Well, I mean, there's been so many runs this Link to the Cure that have been amazing, and the swag points, you guys gotta know what I'm talking about there.
Raw aura farming.
We're in it to win it, champs. That's how we do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is a jump I've only ever made once, because it is very... Oh, and of course I do it at Marathon. Let's go.
Woo! That jump is surprisingly precise.
Yes.
You have to come at it from a very specific angle in the water, or else you just head bonk. And then it's a slower process to resurface and get grabbed by the hand, so this is a lot faster.
This room is probably one of the worst, especially in a casual sense. And this speedrun method, like most things I'm going to tell you, implement it into your regular gameplay, you'll thank me later. Because those enemies are a pain in the ass, and this, just, I don't even have my hand on the left stick. So we're going to do this, that. I missed aiming a bit.
Those guys are kind of infinitely respawning too, so they're just a really annoying part of this room. But we get to just pass them with ease because we have technology.
Get that speed run tech. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, so this room sucks because you never have enough flight. That's just I'll die in that hill. I don't even care. This room sucks. I love this game, and I've spent the entire run saying it sucks. So I don't know. Put that where you want, guys.
No, it definitely, like, you can see how tight it can be there, where we barely had enough distance to make it, but you made it.
Indeed.
All right, so Tristnal switched to ice arrows here. That's because the Garo Master, who we're about to fight, has a weakness to ice arrows. They do a little bit more damage, so. He also freezes in place, which is nice. Allows for follow-up hits that kind of optimize the run a little bit. You know, I've kind of lost track of time. Is this day 3 that we're going into? Or this is day 2, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still just day 2. And
okay.
That's the thing with Better Song of Double Time. Outside of like getting to aliens and doing that, basically everything that's crammed into kind of the first day, we stop caring about time, which is definitely a benefit, particularly if you're a new runner and you're, you know, kind of squirrely about whether or not you're going to be able to do everything. Particularly with the beginner routes, you almost never have to worry about time because of the Better Song of Double Time. So I will definitely preach the benefits of that pretty heavily.
Yeah, it's a nice quality of life feature.
One of the other things too is that they allow us, the client allows you to not drop ocarina notes, so you'll notice I play very quickly and we're not dropping notes, which in the regular game you would. That is kind of a godsend. But sorry, Sway, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, yeah, that's a good one to bring up because it's a bug fix, and Two Ship has a few of those that fix things like weird shot crashes, or the weird ocarina bug where if you play the ocarina on the first few frames after opening it, it'll not count the note. So things like that, Two Ship has fixes for. So if you're ever playing through Majora's Mask and you're like, man, I wish I could do my really hype weird shot plays without the game crashing on accident because I did something slightly wrong, you can do that by playing Two Ship.
You might think that's a very specific use case, but you'd be surprised.
But yeah, there's a few bug fixes that are really neat. So this is probably the biggest sequence break in the dungeon that we're going to do very shortly. So we're gonna grab this key first, and this key is we're gonna need one more key in order to get through the final part of the dungeon. But this part we're able to actually skip some of the problem sections here with platforming and taking more time by doing this really neat jump. So you kind of just hop off the side here, and that skips several rooms there by doing that trick. And so now we're able to skip all the way to the mid-boss for this dungeon, or the second mid-boss, I guess I should say. And we're able to get the boss key by pretty quickly by doing that.
So this boss is Gomez, and he is what I would consider, given that he's the last mini boss in the entire game, he is kind of a pain more than any other. Now, if you are running the Gilded Sword beginner route, you're about to have a real fun time. And if you're me right now, you're about to have a real bad time. Just because it is, there is an element of RNG to it, and he just takes a lot of attacks. But for the most part, it is a very easy and very predictable run. It's just a matter of... So we want to kill these bats because I'm out of magic, and we need, right there, we need the magic to drop. So sometimes
the light arrow takes
sometimes
a lot of magic.
Yes, yeah. It is the most expensive arrow in the game, like cost-wise. It also is buggy as hell. which is fantastic, and we abuse that against Majora later. No.
Nearly there, just 1 or 2 more hits.
Come on, there we go. Magic time. There we go.
There we go.
So there is a glitch with light arrows, and that if you have them equipped and you try and shoot them and you don't have enough magic, it just won't apply any magic to the arrow. You shoot a regular arrow, but the effect of the light arrow, usually it's just extra damage against most enemies, but Majora, for whatever reason, does not sidestep arrows shot by the light arrows. And even if you don't have enough magic to actually fire a light infused arrow, she still won't sidestep the shot. And so we abuse that in the Majora fight to kind of get away with murder of an evil deity. So I'm not going to feel bad. Okay, so I'm going to go for the skip here. I don't know if this will work. God help us all.
I believe in you.
One.
Nice, that's 1 hit. Need 1 more hit.
Got it.
Very nice. So this is going to spawn a chest up on this bridge that basically will allow us to get to the boss room like really, really quickly.
It skips a whole bunch of stuff, and it's not even that precise of a trick to get. And I highly recommend it to pretty much everybody, because it's a freebie. There we go.
So if you're familiar with this fight, you'll be familiar with the fact that in that chest is the Giant's Mask, which allows you to transform into a giant Link and attack Twin Mold with your sword. So the fastest way to complete this fight is actually with arrows. So digging around in the code, but also from experience, runners of the game know that Twin Mold is weak to elemental arrows, basically. So the red Twin Mold is weak to ice arrows, and the blue Twin Mold is weak to fire arrows. So it does 5 times more damage than your sword to hit them with the elemental arrows. So we take full advantage of that here in the run in order to save a lot of time. Unfortunately, it means we have to deal with a little bit of RNG as to the kind of movement patterns that Twin Mold makes. Sometimes they decide to attack you on the middle platform. Other times they're content to kind of give you a show, just squirming about the map. So
wow.
As you can see, the red Twin Mold hates Tristnal today. So
joke's on you. I hate myself.
That's too real.
Oh no. Yeah, so this is probably the worst Twin Mold RNG I've seen in quite some time. Yeah, like
yeah, this is really bad, actually.
If it can go wrong, it is.
Nice shot.
Get down, Mr. Twin Mold. Oh no. With the Gilded Sword route, it's actually more efficient to get the technically, for a beginner, get the Giant's Mask and then just do quick spins. And I highly recommend to new runners to do that. However, in all avenues, this really does pay off learning to do this, because even regular arrows do 2 damage a shot. Unless you miss like I do.
Nearly there.
No, come on. Good news is we got lots of time.
There we go. That's the last hit.
Lovely.
So that's pretty good. We're out of Twin Mold at 203. So
203, yeah. So I think
this is a pretty solid base.
It's leaning heavily towards a 210, 211, I believe.
Yeah. Pretty
Go
solid
figure.
for a marathon, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Go figure though, the Gilded Sword route absolutely demolishes Majora, whereas we kind of got to work a little bit harder, just a wee bit, in order to kill Majora in this route. But that's okay, because that's what we do.
So normally, runners of the game would skip to wait out until midnight on the final day here in Akana Canyon in order to skip a cutscene where the Tower Carnival opens up at midnight on the final day. We don't need to do that for two reasons. One, we have the better Song of Time, so we don't need to wait until midnight. We can just skip to midnight. And two, Two Ship has a cutscene skip anyways, so we can just skip to midnight, no problem. And the cutscene is skipped either way. So here we're going to play the Oath to Order and enter the Moon, which is the final area of the game. Let's give it up for Trist here. We're going to have some RNG coming up on the second phase of this fight, but otherwise I'm hoping for a quick one.
Oof.
This is it, folks. What is hopefully the last 6 minutes of the run and of the event. Let's get some noise.
Woo! Oh, sorry.
I love a good Majora fight. Yeah!
It is a fun fight when it's not being intentionally frustrating, and the first and last phases are awful. They're rife with shit that can go wrong, and it's not what you want.
So we're gonna use the fire arrow here. So the fire arrow is gonna do a little bit more damage to basically all of the masks. Right now it's just Majora's mask, but as you can see here, we have all of the masks activating to attack Link. So the fire arrow is the optimal way of dealing with these guys here as they come to attack us. But our focus is gonna stay on Majora for the time being. Nice.
Oh no, that's not what you want.
I've never seen that happen, actually.
Yeah, the Zora fins can rebound and cause some problems. Also, if you don't get out of Zora form before he breathes fire on you, you're in a lot of trouble, and it'll void out and restart the entire fight.
Yeah, which is such a niche issue to there's no way the devs knew about that. Because why would you allow that to happen?
It's
it's just a funny little thing. Yeah,
it's one of those things too that you're only ever going to encounter when you're first learning the game, and then after you've kicked Majora's ass a few times, you're like, I'm never letting that happen to me ever again, and then you don't.
Yeah, and then all right, so here we're on the second phase of the fight. So we're gonna deal with the masks first, since they can kind of make it a lot harder to deal with Majora. Otherwise, it ends up being a lot of RNG, whether you take hits from the masks or not.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that hit. There we go. So spin attacks tend to keep Majora in place a little bit longer, and also will end up re-tripping him more times than it won't. So it's kind of the preferred approach to this fight.
But Z targeting is about as awful as you can imagine.
Oh, a nice restun though.
That's
there we
not
go.
too
Yeah,
bad.
this is going to be the third phase. And in the third phase, it's really important to get it over with as fast as possible because it's by far like the most risky phase. If Majora kind of gets to do their thing. Spinning tops come out, and it's not a great time, but here we're able to start do some damage. So like Tristnal mentioned earlier, when you have the light arrows equipped, even if you don't have enough magic for the light effect to happen, Majora will not jump out of the way, so it's an effective way of being able to stun the boss without having to rely on timing or anything like that. These whips are really dangerous. There's a few different attack patterns that Majora has here. One of them being that you can literally get grabbed by the whips and then thrown across the entire arena. When that happens, you lose a lot of time and a good chunk of health. So it's not great when it happens, and it can be hard to avoid. So.
Yeah, like right now, she's
just
being awful. And here, we're into the final phase because she's throwing down the tops, but... Oh, yes, yeah.
The top coming from downtown.
I can still salvage this if I try and do a quick spin. Yeah. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, the tops will home in on you, so there's not really a...
There we go. That's time.
That's not bad. That is about 3 minutes behind world record, so I can't complain about that at all.
Yeah, that's a pretty good run. Yeah, sub 210. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, awesome.
Big GG. I'm glad we got to finish on that.
That is fantastic. All right, so I will just say a couple things. Number one, Sway, thank you so much for doing comms. You did a fantastic job, and you are a fantastic person. Couple small things. Please, if you can, go and give all the runners who've run over the last 3 days a follow. All of them are quality runners, quality people. Big shout outs to Schmitty Gaming, who always provides us massive flexibility. Shout outs to all of the staff, Serial Masticator, Liam Retro, Corin. You guys, we couldn't do any of this without them in the background, restreaming, scheduling, doing all that stuff. All the other runners, the guys who have come back from former events, couldn't do this without you guys, and even the new ones. I had such a blast this year, particularly with the new runs, and we raised a lot of money, and I'm super proud of everybody for that. And thank you for all the viewers who stuck around to watch, and if you donated, and even if you didn't, thank you so much. That is what I would consider, guys, a very fantastic and successful event. So pat yourselves on the back, all that fun stuff. And I'm about ready to call it. Sway, anything you'd like to say before we sign off?
No, man, it was a pleasure to commentate all the runs. It was a pleasure to see all of the runs today for sure. Yeah, definitely shoot a follow to everyone because there was a lot of really cool runs. So I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome. And one last thing, Harbormaster64, please check these guys out. If you love Ocarina, which we played yesterday, if you like Star Fox, because their Star Fox project is awesome, and Majora, please check them out. And if you're interested in speedrunning, please reach out. I would love to build the community, and I have infinite patience to help new runners. So that's it. That's all. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Take care, folks.